The crystal glass trembled in Althea's hand. She stood at the edge of the grand hall, pressed against the cold marble wall, watching the other she-wolves parade themselves like prized livestock. Silk gowns in jewel tones, hair pinned with diamonds, throats bared just enough to show submission without looking desperate. The offering. Every unmated she-wolf of age gathered in one place for the Lycan King to choose his Luna. It happened once every decade, and this year the moon goddess had a cruel sense of humor, because Althea Varyn, wolfless, broken, invisible, had been forced to attend. "You really think you'll overlook the fact that you're wolfless?" Seraphine's voice carried just loud enough for nearby wolves to hear. Calculated as always. Althea's delicate fingers tightened around her glass, her pale skin stark against the dark crystal. She was petite, smaller than most she-wolves, with long auburn hair that fell in soft waves past her shoulders. Her emerald green eyes, the only remarkable thing about her mother used to say, stayed fixed on the floor. "I'm not here to be chosen," Althea said quietly. "I'm here because my father demanded it." How charitable of him. Seraphine's red lips curved with false sympathy. Her copper hair gleamed in the chandelier light, her amber eyes sharp as a blade. Parading his broken daughter one last time before. The gong's deep note swallowed the rest of her words. Every wolf in the hall dropped to one knee. If you love werewolf romance, hit subscribe now before we begin this story. Althea's legs folded before her mind could catch up. Instinct, even without a wolf, her body knew to bow. Around her, silk rustled, jewelry clinked, breathing stopped. The marble floor was cold beneath her knees. "Don't look up," someone hissed beside her. "Don't even breathe too loud." She didn't need the warning. She'd heard the stories. The Lycan King didn't tolerate disrespect. Entire packs had been wiped out, for less than a lifted gaze. Footsteps echoed through the hall. Slow, deliberate. The click of steel on marble. The temperature dropped. Or maybe that was just her fear. "Your Majesty." Her father's voice, usually so commanding, came out strained. "The Varyn pack is honored by your presence. The offering awaits your selection." Silence. Then a voice like gravel and smoke. "I've already chosen." The hall erupted in whispers. Althea's heart slammed against her ribs. Around her, she felt the other she-wolves tense. Hope, excitement, terror. The Lycan King never chose this quickly. The offering was supposed to last hours, inspections, conversations, negotiations between alphas, but he'd chosen in seconds. "Please, goddess, anyone but me." "Rise." The command wasn't for everyone. It was singular, directed. Althea's head lifted before she could stop herself. Silver eyes locked onto hers. Ancient, burning, ringed with gold. Impossible to escape. "No," she breathed. Gasps rippled through the crowd like wind through dead leaves. Wolves shifted, craning to see who the king had chosen. When their eyes landed on her, shock turned to outrage. "Your Majesty." A scarred commander stepped forward, his voice carefully measured. Perhaps a more suitable candidate. Her name. The king's gaze never left Althea's face. No one spoke. The silence stretched, brittle and suffocating. "Althea Varyn," her father finally said, each syllable dripped with shame. "My youngest daughter." A pause, then quieter. "She is wolfless, Your Majesty." The whisper turned vicious. "Wolfless? Impossible." An insult to the throne. The king moved 3 strides and he stood before her. Up close, his presence was suffocating. Raw power barely leashed beneath bronze skin and black steel armor. He towered over her, standing well over 6 feet, his broad shoulder blocking out the light. Dark hair, nearly black, fell to his shoulders. His strong jaw was covered in dark stubble, and a scar cut through one eyebrow, giving him a permanently dangerous look. "Stand," he commanded. Althea's legs shook, but she rose, barely. "Give me your hand." "I can't." Her voice cracked. "I'm not what you think. I'm nothing. I don't have—" "Your hand, Althea." Her name on his lips made something inside her chest crack open. Heat flooded through her veins, burning and freezing all at once. The bond. She felt it snap into place like a golden chain wrapping around her ribs, pulling tight. No, this can't be happening. Her hand lifted, not by choice, but by instinct, by something primal she didn't understand. His fingers closed around hers, warm, impossibly strong, rough with calluses from sword and war. The moment they touched, lightning shot up her arm. The bond flared, undeniable, overwhelming. The hall exploded. Blasphemy! An alpha surged to his feet. Your Majesty, this is an insult. She's wolfless. She deceives the bond, a Luna shrieked. Dark. Magic. Witchcraft. The voices rose, overlapping, a cacophony of outrage and disbelief. Seraphine's laugh cut through it all. The wolfless girl. This should be entertaining. Althea wanted to run, to rip her hand free and bolt. But the king's grip was iron, and the bond was a rope around her throat. Please, she whispered, looking up at him desperately. Her emerald eyes filled with tears. Let me go. You've made a mistake. I don't make mistakes. His voice was low, meant only for her. Then he turned to face the crowd. The hall fell quiet, not from respect, but from fear. She is mine. His voice rolled through the space, low and absolute. Anyone who questions it questions me. Abida stepped forward, face pale. Your Majesty, with all due respect, the laws are clear. A Luna must have her wolf. The king's power exploded outward. The air turned to lead. Pressure slammed down on the hall like a physical weight. Wolves dropped, foreheads pressed to marble, unable to resist. Even the alphas crumbled, backs bent, teeth gritted against the crushing force of his aura. Althea gasped, her knees buckling, but the king's hand tightened around hers, holding her upright. Somehow, his power didn't touch her. It flowed around her like water around a stone. I am not a king who repeats himself. His voice was quiet now, deadly. She is mine. The bond is sealed. Any wolf who speaks against her speaks against their king. Silence, absolute, suffocating. He released his power slowly, letting them breathe again. Wolves gasped, some collapsing entirely. Without another word, the king turned and pulled Althea toward the doors. Wait! She stumbled after him, her pulse wild. Where are you taking me? He didn't answer, didn't slow. His grip on her wrist was unrelenting, dragging her through the parting crowd as though she weighed nothing. Faces blurred past, some pitying, most disgusted, a few eager, like wolves scenting blood. Your Majesty, her father's voice rang out, desperate. Please, if I may, no. One word, final. The doors slammed open, flooding the hall with cold night air and silver moonlight. Beyond them waited a carriage of black steel and crimson velvet, flanked by guards in armor that gleamed like oil. Althea dug her heels in, panic rising. Stop. You can't just... He turned to face her. Up close, his silver eyes burned with something she couldn't name. Not anger, not desire, something older, darker. You will come with me willingly, or I will carry you. Choose. Her breath hitched. Why me? You could have anyone. Someone stronger, someone with a wolf. The bond doesn't lie. But what you are will be revealed in time. Until then, you belong to me. He released her wrist, but the command in his eyes kept her rooted. Get in the carriage, Althea. Behind them, Seraphine's voice drifted through the open doors, sweet as poison. The wolfless girl won't survive the week. Laughter followed, cruel, knowing. Althea's small hands curled into fists. Shame burned through her chest, but beneath it, something else stirred, something sharper. I didn't ask for this, but I won't give them the satisfaction of watching me break. She lifted her chin and walked to the carriage. The king's lips curved, not quite a smile, but close. Good. The carriage wheels clattered against cobblestones, each jolt sending Althea's stomach lurching. She sat pressed against the velvet seat, as far from the king as the cramped space allowed. He sprawled across from her, massive frame filling the carriage, silver eyes never leaving her face. In the dim light, his features were sharp as a blade, that strong jaw, high cheekbones, the scar cutting through his brow. You're afraid, he said. Not a question, a fact. Althea swallowed hard, her delicate throat working. Shouldn't I be? Yes. Honesty. She hadn't expected that. But not of me. She laughed bitterly. You just claimed me in front of every pack in the kingdom. Dragged me from my home without explanation. How am I supposed to? You were going to run. She froze. What? Tonight. His silver eyes narrowed. You planned to disappear during the offering. Vanish into the wilds where no one would find you. Her blood turned to ice. How did he? I can smell your fear, Althea. I can hear your heartbeat. And I know the look of someone who's already decided they're better off dead than enduring one more day of this life. Tears stung her emerald eyes. She looked away, unable to meet his gaze. I wasn't going to. Don't lie to me. The command in his voice was absolute. She bit her lip, fighting tears. What does it matter? She whispered. You don't know me. You don't know what it's like to be, nothing. To be the shame of your pack, the disappointment your father won't acknowledge. I know exactly what it's like. She looked up sharply. His expression hadn't changed, but something flickered in. Those silver eyes, something raw. You, disbelief colored her voice. You're the Lycan King. I was a bastard once, he said quietly. Unwanted, cast aside, left to die in the cold because my bloodline was inconvenient. Silence filled the carriage. So yes, Althea, I know what it's like to be nothing. Her chest tightened, she didn't know what to say. The king leaned forward, his voice dropping to barely more than a rumble. You're mine now, under my protection, and I don't let what's mine break. The carriage rolled on into the night, carrying her toward a future she couldn't begin to imagine. Behind them, in the hall, the offering continued, but Althea Varyn, the wolfless girl no one wanted, was already gone. The castle rose from the mountainside like a black tooth. Althea stared up at it through the carriage window, her breath fogging the glass. Stone walls, iron gates, torches burning like warning fires along the battlements. This wasn't a palace, it was a fortress. The carriage door swung open, and a guard extended his hand. She took it, stepping down onto cold cobblestones. The moment her feet touched the ground, she tasted it. Iron in the air. Blood. Old blood soaked into stone and mortar. Wolves lined the courtyard, dozens of them. Their eyes glowed in the torchlight, reflecting gold and silver. Some looked curious. Most looked like they wanted to rip her throat out. That's what he brought back? A woman's sharp voice cut through the whispers. Wolfless, another spat, an insult. Althea wrapped her arms around herself, suddenly aware of how exposed she was in her simple cream gown. How small. The king stepped past her, his presence like a wall between her and the crowd. Commander Darius materialized beside him, a tall man in his 40s with silver-streaked dark hair and a face carved with scars. Your Majesty. Darius's voice was low, urgent. The council is waiting. They demand nothing. The king's tone could have frozen blood. They insist on an audience, now. The king's jaw tightened. Then he turned to Althea, and for a moment his expression softened. Stay here. Don't speak to anyone. Panic flared in her chest. Wait, where are you? But he was already walking away, Darius at his heels, disappearing through massive iron doors. The moment he was gone, the air shifted. The crowd closed in, not physically, but Althea felt the weight of their stares pressing down, suffocating. Look at her. A woman's voice, smooth as silk, sharp as glass. A stunning woman with copper-red hair and amber eyes stepped forward. Seraphine. She'd followed from the offering. What do you want? Althea asked, her voice steadier than she felt. To help you. Seraphine's smile didn't reach her eyes. You look lost. I'm fine. Are you? Seraphine circled her slowly. You don't look fine. You look terrified. Althea clenched her fists. Don't let her see. The king claimed you. Seraphine continued, voice dropping lower. But claims can be broken, especially when the claimant is found dead in her chambers. The words hit like a punch. You're threatening me? I'm being kind. Seraphine leaned close, breath warm against Althea's ear. Leave tonight. Disappear, or you won't survive the week. Before Althea could respond, a hand touched her shoulder, gentle but firm. That's enough, Lady Seraphine. A young woman stepped between them, dark hair braided down her back. Plain servant's clothes, but sharp, watchful eyes. Isla. Seraphine's smile turned brittle. Still playing the loyal dog? Still playing the scorned lover? Isla's tone was light, but her stance was protective. Seraphine looked ready to lunge. Then she laughed, cold and empty. Enjoy your night, Wolfless. Sleep well, if you can. The crowd dispersed slowly, whispers trailing like smoke. Thank you, Althea managed. Don't thank me yet. Isla started walking toward the castle. Come, I'll show you to your quarters. They moved through corridors that stretched forever. Stone walls, iron sconces, portraits of dead kings with hollow eyes. The castle felt alive, breathing, watching. Does everyone here hate me? Althea asked quietly. Isla glanced at her. Most of them, yes. That's comforting. I'm not here to comfort you. Isla's voice was matter-of-fact. I'm here to keep you breathing. They stopped at a heavy oak door. Isla pushed it open, revealing a room bathed in firelight. A large bed with velvet curtains. A window overlooking dark forest. Your chambers, Isla said. The king's rooms are in the east wing. You're here, alone. Althea stepped inside. The room was beautiful and completely isolated. So I'm a prisoner. You're protected. Isla moved to the fireplace, stoking flames. There's a difference. Everyone keeps saying that. Isla straightened, her expression serious. Listen carefully. This court is a war zone. Every smile hides a knife. Every kindness is a trap. Trust no one. Not even you? Especially not me. Isla's lips curved slightly, no humor in it. She moved to the door. Lock this behind me. Don't open it for anyone. What's happening? Just do it. Isla slipped out. Althea rushed forward, locked the door, then pressed her ear against the wood. Voices, low and dangerous. The king said no one enters. We're not here for her. We're here to deliver a message. Then give it to me. A pause, laughter. The message is in words, girl. A scuffle, a gasp. Althea's hand moved to the door handle. She should help. Silence. Footsteps retreating. She waited, heart hammering. Finally, she unlocked the door. Isla stood in the hallway, one hand pressed to her side. Blood seeped between her fingers. Isla! Althea grabbed her arm, pulling her inside. What happened? I'm fine. Isla's face was pale. Just a warning. They want you scared. You're bleeding. It's shallow. Isla straightened, wincing. Don't give them what they want. She moved toward the door. Lock it. Don't open it again tonight. Wait. But Isla was gone. Althea stood staring at blood on the floor. Her hands shook. What have I gotten myself into? Hours passed. The fire burned low. Althea tried to sleep, but every sound made her flinch. Then she heard it, scratching, soft at first, then louder, coming from inside the walls. She sat up, pulse racing. The scratching continued, rhythmic, deliberate, like claws on stone. It stopped. Silence pressed down, heavy. Then a voice whispered through cracks in the wall. Althea. Her blood turned to ice. Run, Althea, run. The candle went out. Darkness swallowed the room. She couldn't see, couldn't move. The darkness pressed in. Then she heard it, breathing. Someone was in the room. She opened her mouth to scream, but a hand clamped over her face. Rough, cold, smelling of earth and rot. Shh! A voice hissed in her ear. Scream, and you'll never see morning. The hand tightened. Althea thrashed, clawing at the arm, but it was like fighting stone. Her vision blurred. The room spun. The last thing she heard was laughter. Welcome to the king's court, little wolfless girl. Then the world went black. Althea woke to the taste of blood. She'd bitten her tongue, hard. Pain throbbed through her skull. Her body felt heavy. She tried to move. Her wrists wouldn't budge. Tied. Her eyes flew open. Stone ceiling, flickering torchlight. The smell of damp earth and something metallic. She yanked at her wrists, feeling rope bite into skin. Her arms were bound above her head, tied to iron. Panic surge. Where am I? You're awake. A figure stepped from shadows, tall, lean, face hidden beneath a hood. Who are you? Her voice came out hoarse. What do you want? The figure moved closer. You're a mistake, and we're going to correct it. Let me go. She tried to sound commanding. The king made a mistake. The man stopped just out of reach. You're Wolfless, a stain on the throne, and we're going to remove you before you destroy everything. The words cut deep, because part of her believed them. Then why claim me at all? That, the man said, is what we're trying to figure out. He crouched down, and she caught a glimpse of his face. Young, sharp features, a scar through his jaw. Who sent you? She demanded. Seraphine? Does it matter? He studied her like a puzzle. You won't live long enough for it to matter. Althea's mind raced. She needed to stall. You're afraid of him. That's why you're doing this in secret. The man's jaw tightened. I fear no one. Liar. She forced herself to meet his gaze. You're terrified, because you know what he'll do when he finds out. The man said nothing. Then he stood, pulling out a dagger. This is it. But he turned to face the door. Someone's coming. Footsteps, fast, heavy. The man cursed. The key disappearing into shadows. The door burst open. Isla stumbled in, pale, blood soaking through her shirt. Althea. Breathless. Are you... Isla, you're hurt. I'm fine. Isla fumbled with the ropes. We need to get you out, now. How did you find me? Doesn't matter. Her hands shook. They'll be back soon. The ropes loosened. Althea pulled her hands free, rubbing raw wrists. They stumbled into a narrow corridor, underground, the castle's dungeons. Where's the king? Occupied. Isla's voice was tight. The council's keeping him busy. So this was planned. Everything here's planned. Isla glanced back. Trust nothing. They turned a corner. 3 guards blocked their path, faces covered, hands on sword hilts. Run, Isla whispered. No, I can't. Run. Isla shoved her backward, then lunged at the guards. Althea ran. She didn't know where, didn't care. Her feet slapped stone, breath ragged. The corridor twisted, branching. Behind her, shouting. Steel clashing. A scream. Don't stop. Don't look back. She turned another corner and slammed into something solid. A chest. Broad, unyielding. Hands gripped her shoulders. She looked up. Silver eyes stared down, cold, furious. Kaelan. Where have you been? His voice was controlled, but rage simmered beneath. I told you to stay in your chambers. Someone took me. Words tumbled out. They tied me up. They were going to kill me. His grip tightened. Who? I don't know. A man with a scar. He said the council. Where's Ela? Fighting them. The guards. He shoved past her, moving with terrifying speed. Althea followed, legs trembling. She shouldn't. Should run the other way, but the bond pulled her forward. They rounded the corner. Isla was on the ground, blood pooling beneath her. 3 guards stood over her, swords drawn. Kaelan didn't say a word. He moved like death. One moment beside Althea, next on them. His hand closed around the first guard's throat, lifting him off the ground. The guard choked, legs kicking. Who sent you? The guard didn't answer. Couldn't. Kaelan's grip tightened, a sickening crack. He dropped the body. The other 2 ran. Kaelan let them. For now. He crouched beside Isla, pressing his hand to her wound. Stay with me. Isla's eyes fluttered. Your Majesty, I'm sorry. Couldn't stop them. You did enough. His voice softened slightly. Hold on. He lifted her effortlessly, then turned to Althea. Follow me. Don't fall behind. They moved through the castle in silence. Althea's mind was a storm. They reached double doors. Kaelan kicked them open. Inside, healers. They rushed forward, taking Isla. Kaelan watched them work, jaw tight, then turned to Althea. Tell me everything. She did, every detail. When she finished, Kaelan was silent. Fury simmered in his eyes. The council, he said finally. They're testing me. Testing you? To see if I'll break the bond. Choose them over. You. He stepped closer. They want you dead, and they won't stop. Her throat went dry. Then send me away, let me go. No. Why? Her voice cracked. I'm nothing. I'm Wolfless. You're mine. His hand cupped her jaw, tilting her face up. His thumb brushed her cheek. And I don't let what's mine die. The bond flared, hot and overwhelming. They'll keep coming, she whispered. Let them. His voice dropped to a growl. I'll kill every last one. The doors burst open. Commander Darius strode in. Your Majesty, the Council demands your presence. They're threatening to invoke old laws. Kaelan didn't move. Tell them to wait. They know about the attack. They're using it as proof the bond is unstable, that she's a liability. She's not a liability, she's my mate. Then prove it, Darius urged, before they take this out of your hands. Silence. Then Kaelan released Althea, stepping back. Stay here, he ordered. Darius, post guards, no one enters. Your Majesty, no one. He looked at Althea one last time. I'll handle this. He walked out. Althea sank to the floor, trembling. From somewhere in the castle, a bell tolled. Low, ominous, the council had begun, and somewhere in the darkness, wolves waited, to be continued in part 2. The council will demand proof. The first trial begins at dawn, and Althea will discover that surviving the king's court requires more than just luck. It requires claws she doesn't have. Want to know what happens when the first trial begins? Subscribe now so you don't miss part 2. Like this video if you're rooting for Althea, and comment below, do you think she's truly wolfless or is something else going on? Let me know.